Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a new video in the Thuluth script, and in today's lesson we're going to continue with the Thuluth, of course, and today's letter would be the Lam Alef. It's a combination between two letters, the letter Lam and the letter Alef, but in a way it's, we do it as a letter basically. Now, for this letter we have three moves. Basically we're going to use an Alef move and two new moves. Now one of the two new moves is actually the Kaf move, or you could just call it a Ta marbuta, which is big. The Ta marbuta, as we saw before, is a letter that goes down, turns around and comes back, but it is short. Imagine if this letter was really long and elongated. So this is the Lam Alef and this is the Ta marbuta. The Ta marbuta is quite short, it's 3 points of height, or 4. Meanwhile, this one would be longer than the Alef. The moves we're going to need here, this is the second shape. The first shape would be this shape. For this shape, we're going to use an Alef, a Kaf move, kind of. It is a Lam Alef move, but we use it in the Kaf, and the last bit of it, third shape here. The first shape, which is the Alef, would be just like a letter Alef. We're going to do a 6 point height instead of 7. 5 and 6. And the reason for this is because we're going to need 2 points for the other shape. The other shape being this shape down here, the last one. Now, we're going to start with the letter Alef. From here, doing your hilya, going up, then coming back, changing the thickness, and finishing it just down here. The reason for this is the first move, basically a letter Alef. Again, your hilya would be just like the letter Alef. Nothing new here. The second move would be dragging this pen downward with a 2 point drop and a shape that looks like a banana, let's say. In order to get this shape, your pen would have to move smoothly with the cut. So you're holding the cut this way. So you're going to move with the cut, then start going to the left, then lift the pen and finish it pointing downward. So this move would look downward. You see you've got a small start and a small end, small finish. So to do that, you're going to go down, add some weight to it, then rotate the pen in order to reduce the thickness or the weight. Now this move would be 3 points wide, but you measure the points kind of far, because this is where the last move will connect somewhere here. So your 3 points would kind of start from this edge. 1, 2, 3. I need to go really slow with this pen. And this is basically your move. Could use some weight to it, but again, you start from here, you go down with a nice curvature, then you go back with your thickness, and you're basically pointing downward with it. If it was hard for you, you'd do a straight line, connect these two together, actually, connect this down to here because you want it to point downward. Do another line next to it, just like this, and try and fill this with the pen, as you can see here. Now, the following move, or the third move, so this is one, a letter Alef, a second move we just learned. The third move would be the kind of Kaf shape, and that shape would be 4 points far from the Alef. So this is our letter Alef, and we're going to basically draw a line here because it will also drop for half a point. So from this, by the way, this is the lam, but we'd call it an alef because it is the shape that we used. This is the lam, and from the lam, we're going to take 4 points. And we're going to drop half a point. Starting from here, what you're going to do is the same move as we did for the kaf. You're going to start with the hilya. Then you're going to break down through here. And what you're going to keep an eye on here is your finish line, basically. So you want to end somewhere here. All right, it will not touch, it will just float over it. So you're going to need these lines to basically intersect. And you got a curvature, a long one going here, almost 2/3, and then final one, the last third would be going back this way. So 2/3 of sag curvature, and the last third would be a crest one, and it will finish over here before touching. And this way you get your lam alef. The same thing goes for this side. If you take a straight line, you'll find that you've got a curvature here. And the hilya, of course, hilya is 1.5 points. So you're going to continue this part, and you're going to connect this to this, and you're going to color this one. So if you measure this, it will be almost 1.5. Let's try and do it without the scaling. Again, it's tricky to find a good place to put the camera. First move, going up as an alef. To review the alef, you're going to start with a ruqa alef, make it thicker over here, and you move with this nasakh alef. You're going to finish it nice and neat here. Second, you're going to add your 2 points for this move, and for this move you're going to start with the cut, increase the thickness and decrease it, and point downward, basically, with the curvature. We're going to talk later on what happens if you get these things. Basically what you would do is tartish, and you would use a cutter or a sharp tool to simply erase these ones after they dry. Because when ink dries, most of inks, you could just scrape the excess amounts of it. But yeah, I'm just demonstrating it quickly here. Takes time. Again, that's if you want to perfect your letters and make them really sharp. Back to this word, to this lam alef. It is quite, how can I say it, thick and dodgy, but I just want you to see the quick outcome of a lam alef and the moves. You go back, then you come back with a break, 2/3 of sag curve, then 1/3 of crest curve. With practice, you would perfect it. Again, just focus on the dimensions and do each move by itself, then combine 3 moves. This is where you will get a consistent result. Next, it is a second shape of the lam alef. By the way, those 2 shapes are when the lam alef is singular. For this one, you're going to need a guideline from the top, a drop of 1 point from that line, and a 4-point width guideline. Now what will happen here is that you will basically move similar to the last move over there, but it will be the first one. So this is the lam, and you're going to start with your hilya. It's going up, slightly more vertical. Go down 2/3 then finishing it this way. Now, what happens is that you're going to add a تاء مربوطة shape down over here. 1 and 2. And this shape would be just exactly the same as the تاء مربوطة. And you would come back. You will have a 1 point of space in here. Go back and review the تاء مربوطة. Nothing new here. So the first move was going down, right? Same move as this one. Could have used height, but anyway. The last move is the move that you kind of want to focus on it because it is, I think it is a new one. And for this one, you're gonna hold the pen with an angle so that when you move, you start with a curve that goes this way and the second one goes the other way around. Unfortunately, you're going to do this move with a really narrow window of change. So as you can see here, I am holding the pen with this angle and I'm moving with the cut. But still you've got two curves. You start with the crest curve, then you finish it with a sag curve. As you can see here. And the way of having third of the pen is by holding it with this angle and moving with it. At the end you stop and you leave the shape of the cut like here. Don't color it or close it as if it was unidentified end or sharp end. So how to actually do this move, you kind of want to start with a more curvature than you should. Then you start reducing the amount of curvature between those two. Finally, you'll be more comfortable of producing a line that is the thinnest out of all of them. You could also use the technique of simply drawing the cuts just like this, because this will give you a more accurate movement of the pen. In the cuts you could easily choose your X and Y basically. You start with this one over here, the next one would go up, right, up, right, up, right, up, right, and you could actually manage to memorize or build the muscle memory for this move so that when you go back and you do it in reality, it would look ever so slight and neat. Now this move will keep moving until it touches the top part, and it would be again 4 points far from the midpoint. So we've got our aim over there, and it will touch because this will be basically higher than the previous one. And we go back up and stop here. So yes, this move would be more extruded to the right than the left move. I hope this is clear, because this lam alif is kind of tricky, more tricky than the previous one. But if you did calves enough, you'll be able to do it. Do the calf, do the ta marbuta, and you will manage to create these shapes. You should also do your hilya over here. So these are the two lam alifs when they come by themselves. If a lam alif is to connect, we usually use this one over here, and just like a lam, because this is a lam. For example, if you want to write the word kalla, kaf with an alif or a lam becomes shorter, becomes basically a letter da. Sorry about this, let me just do it again. A good advice is to move really slowly when you write thuluth. So this is the kaf, and you're going to go up with a letter lam that touches the kaf, 2 points of height. And when you come back, you basically mark your 2 points. So you have to extrude, but you need 1 point over here and you've got the second point over here. So you're going to extrude just around here with your second move, as you can see here. Finally, you would add your 4 points for the last move and your drop of half a point, and you simply finish it with your Alef. Yeah, you need a bit of service to write on when you practice. And you finish your calf, whether it was long or short, with your 2 points of height. So, this is when you connect your lam alif. The longer one, I've seen it connect, but how can I say it? I'm not a big fan of it. Like, it would just look too much like, I don't know. I could understand it for a ta marbuta. But yeah, it's up to you if you want to connect it or not. But I would rather just leave it as it is. Use it for the ones for the singular shape. There is something that we might talk about that I forgot to mention before, and that is, since we talk about the lam alif, we've got the letter ha or ta marbuta. When it comes singular, we studied this shape that looks like a lam alif, and we went down and we went back. Usually you will end it here. I'm not sure if we talked about what we call a rabbit, and that would include a last move. This last move, instead of finishing it over here, you would actually go back with a shape that looks like this. It looks like a farsirat. And this shape basically connects to this move. So you're going to rotate back with the 1 point of height, then start extruding ever so slightly to finish it just before here. This is an option for you for the ta marbuta. Again, ta marbuta could also connect just like the lam alif. For example, taha. You have the option of doing this, going up, going back, down, back up, then doing this move. Your call, you will see it. It's an option if you want. Yeah, it's the bunny ta marbuta. So, I think this is for today's lesson. I hope I'm making good explanations in these videos. Of course I do. Everyone loves this channel by the looks of it. But yeah, this is the last lesson for the letters. This should be the 30th lesson. We still have the harakat, which will take 1 lesson. We're going to do some practice, which will be the 32nd lesson. Then we inshallah going to do a lesson other than the practice, because the practice would be more of connecting letters, trying to talk about certain moves or let's say abnormalities in this script. But the following one would be more of an actual writing of a sentence or a verse or hadith, so that we could see it with the harakat and how it constructs. Then that's the 33rd. The 34th lesson would be about the Diwani Thuluth Jali. We will not talk about it in details, we will just give an idea of it. It is a totally not new script, but it requires a lot of practice, so you should actually start practicing that one. Finally, to finish with everything, we are going to on the 35th lesson, inshallah, practice Lafz al-Jalal Allah, so that on the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the way to write it. we want to finish with a great thing, and there's nothing greater than Lafz al-Jalala. So yeah, for those of you who wonder when this class will finish, inshallah 5 lessons to go, hopefully. Anyway, this is for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, share and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about Arabic calligraphy. I hope that my videos are good enough. I know that I'm not the most perfect calligrapher. I'm still learning, trying to do my best to explain these things. Don't expect yourself to become a professional just by doing these videos or practicing them. Again, I'm not that good at it, kind of, and the camera angle is dodgy, so shapes won't look good. Just take some hints, go back, download pictures, copy them, mimic the previous masters, stick to one master because they've got different shapes. And yeah, share this channel with anyone who wants to learn calligraphy, and see you in the next video. Have a lovely day, evening or night. Goodbye.